Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast. My name is Coach Scott. I'll be your host today. It is Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. February 26th, almost through with February here. Looking pretty good. I love moving out of February. I always feel like February is the most ominous snow month. Of course, now I've just jinxed it, and now March is going to be hell. But I like getting through February. It makes me feel like spring is close. We're close to spring, closing in on it. Maybe closer to shutting the door on winter and moving on. Getting outdoors on the bike more. I'm like a 50-degree outdoor bike guy and probably like a 40-degree outdoor run guy. So I do need to get outside. It's coming little by little. If you're watching, I got the gray hat back on today. I'm trying to like keep it over my eyes today. You guys can't tell our makeup person is off today. Our makeup person. I definitely need to, I'm going to trim the beard this weekend, guys. I promise you that. But if you can't really see, I don't know how close my eyes are a little bit red this morning. Not for like bloodshot red because I was like out drinking all night or anything, but we went to my daughter has horseback riding lessons now. This is like a new thing. Horseback. This is going to put me in the poorhouse too. But I learned after dropping her off for the first lesson and watching, I learned very quickly that I am highly allergic to horses. So if I'm inside with these horses for too long, my eyes get all red. I have trouble breathing. It gets really weird. It's like, it's not a good allergy reaction. And so yesterday, so the first time I brought her there, I discovered the allergy. The second time I stayed in the car. I kind of walked her in to make sure everything was okay. Then I stayed in the car. Then yesterday, we got there at 4 o'clock. Lessons start at 4. It's like a 4 to 5. And I guess what it is the first few minutes of the first half of the lesson is really just about getting the horse ready to ride. You have to practice kind of getting everything ready to ride. So I get there and they look at us and they go, "Oh, you're early. You're too early." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" "Oh, well, the person before you was running late. So you're not going to have to saddle up the horse. We're just going to leave it saddled up for you and then you can just ride." And I'm thinking, but that makes me early. How? So I said, but our lessons start at 4 o'clock, right? She's like, "Oh yeah. But we can't take her in for at least another 15 minutes. This is like a millennial thing, right? It's like blatantly your fault why things are wrong, why things are off, but you're going to blame me for being early when I've done nothing. It's like, I'm sorry to put all you millennials in a box. I'm sure some of you aren't like that. But it's like they just need to play an individual needed to place blame on somebody else. And you might as well blame me for being on time by calling me early. If you can't tell, it bothered me. Anyway, so we wound up sitting there in the horse place waiting. And 15-minute wait became a half an hour wait. And then I'm feeling my eyes. I'm definitely feeling like my breathing is changing. And also, by the way, we have 6:30 ride last night. After about a half an hour, they took her in, they gave her lesson, and I went back to the car and I sat in that car and man, the allergies were not going away. So anyway, this morning, but they did go away eventually. I opened the windows, I drove home, I kind of drank some water, ate some food and just kind of dissipated mostly by the time the 6:35, trivia ride went off last night. And once I started riding and sweating it out, it was all fine. This morning, though, I went and I put on the same coat and jacket that I had on yesterday, and I was doing the garbage, and I went out for my Dunkin coffee. We're going to talk about this in a second, too, because this is just unacceptable. This is just unacceptable, what's going on here. I'm complaining today's complaining day. If you guys got some, just, complain away. So I got up and I put on the same clothes that I had, and all of a sudden, next thing I know, like my eyes are back to bloodshot, and I'm like, man, and I'm itchy, and that's terrible. So yeah, I'm gonna have to throw that coat into the. It's really just a pullover, but it's I'm gonna have to throw that into the washing machine. That's not good. Anyway, so yeah, the eyes are red. Good start to the day. It's funny. So we rode on Wednesday, and Christian Lee showed up, and I haven't seen Christian in a long time. I think our schedules just started matching up, and it was good to see him. We raced together. He raced ahead of me. A couple years ago, he used to make fun of me on the show because I would go to Dunkin' and they'd give me styrofoam cup especially in the winter, styrofoam cup. And, he would just say like, oh, save the environment kind of thing. He's got a point. But Dunkin', I'm at the whim of Dunkin'. The coffee is the gold inside. I don't care about the vessel as much as he does, apparently, which is good. Anyway, so Dunkin' went and changed. And now they have these paper cups. And these things that go on the top, they don't really, I can't tell you, like I used to be able to kind of just have faith. If I like pulled the coffee up from the top, I would have faith that the lid would not come off. It was pretty tight on there. Now, I'm not even going to show you because I'm not going to try it because this thing would come off in a second. And you can look as I drive home, this thing like it drips everywhere. Can you guys see this? I don't know if you can see it, but there's all these coffee lines down the side. It just drips like mad. It's crazy. And they've tried to change it by creating these little plastic things that go in the top to kind of prevent the coffee from coming out of the top. But it doesn't matter. It comes out the side. And it's just gross. And I'm really like, I'm this close to not getting coffee from there ever again. Or maybe even bring in my own. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll bring in my own coffee thingy. I can bring in my Coach Scott mug, which is not here right now. Anyway, that's the problems of my life right now. The major problems of my life is a casual allergy to horses and bad coffee cups. Let's get back to the week. I tell you, so we talked on Wednesday, and I gotten done with the run. I got done a little bit late with the run, but then I got it done. And then we're talking about Wednesday night. Wednesday night was our first ever Ordinary Marathon race series, our inaugural race series. And I don't even know how many people we had. Probably about a dozen people show up at different times of the day. We had 3 people race in the morning. Probably had about 10 people race in the afternoon or the evening. Actually, it was evening. It was late. It was night, 8 o'clock. And then we had one person race yesterday. So we got all our times, we got all your average watts, and now we're going to wait 4 or 5 weeks, and we'll do it again. We'll do it again and see who of you out there improves the most, who improves most on time, who improves most on average watts. We'll see. It's an experiment. It's an experiment. Again, this is not to belittle anyone who doesn't get better. It's not to, we're not trying to race one another, even though Ron Booz and Jeff McGee, you guys went at it pretty hard. And I'm sure that there was some pushing. You guys were pushing each other. But you guys, those two finished first. It was quite a battle. Nick Doe was out there. Nick started way behind me, and when we finished, he was right behind me. So I don't know. He saved his for the end. But he's kind of new on the platform. So I think next time he's one to watch out for. Once he realizes he can kind of push out some of that energy in the beginning, he's certainly going to overtake me. But again, it's not a race. It's not a race against each other. What is a race? It's a race of you now versus you in 4 or 5 weeks. That's the race. You want to get better. You want to improve. You want to see that all of this training, all of this work is doing something. It's worthwhile. It's working, right? You want all that time and energy you put into it. You want to make sure that you're doing it and that you're improving. And that's the whole theory behind the whole Ordinary Marathoner race series. And again, if you want to get involved, you can still get involved through the weekend. I'll give you through the weekend to get a race in. We can set it up. I'll help you set up. I set one up for someone yesterday. My friend Joe Bartlett, he is now involved. And so we can help set you up. You race it. You can do it on your own. And we're just going to take your statistics after you're done and hold them hostage for 4 or 5 weeks and then compare you against that. And I think that's a really, really great idea. So what did I do on race day? Let me see. Man, I'm a little all over the place here. I think that was it. Sand and Sequoias was the course. Was a really good course to race. It starts off really flat for about 7-8 miles, and then it gets into this little park area, dinosaur park, where it gets there's a good hill, like a good amount of hills, not too steep. It's really like maybe 5 or 6%. Incline, which is really not so bad. It's manageable. It's not like you're climbing a mountain, like 15% inclines. And I think it's a really good course to measure, for us to measure just enough hills to kind of, have an effect. Especially if weight, for me, weight is a big deal. So if I could lose some weight, I'm going to take those hills a lot better next time. But it also has a good flat portion too. So it's like you can sprint, you can do whatever, you can climb a little, and it's multifaceted in that way. How about that word? It gets your skill levels from a lot of different things. And I like it. And short enough, it's about 13 miles, short enough that doesn't take all day and it's not going to kill you. For me, I finished the course in 38 minutes, 34 seconds. I averaged 225 watts. The one thing I did do in looking back is there were some downhills. So obviously you start and stop in the same spot. It's a loop, which means if you go uphill, there's corresponding downhills. So if that's the case, on the downhills, sometimes I let myself coast because I try to make it like real life. But then what happens is it really skews your overall average watts, and it skews it down because obviously, you're coasting down the hill, you're going fast, but your average watts are 0. So that 0 is averaging in with all the other work that you did. And I think that was a mistake for me. And that's something I'll change next time is I'll push on the pedals. I'm not going to just coast down the hills. I will push on the pedals at least a little bit. Still be in recovery mode, maybe going after going up that hill, depending on how tired I am. But that will help my overall average watts, I think, significantly. I don't know. I look at this time, and the time doesn't really bother me. I think honestly, for me, if I can lose like 5 to 10 pounds in the next month and a half or 4 or 5 weeks, whatever it might be, that's going to help this time. The time will go down, even if I put out the same effort. But I put out a good effort on Wednesday. I feel good about it. It's also a 2-shower day. I know I've worked out and I've had a good solid day of training if I shower at least 2 times, sometimes 3. I remember back when I was at work, I used to get up, I would swim, shower, go to work. At lunch, I'd go run, shower, go back to work, and then come home, do the bike, and shower. The 3-shower day. You guys remember the Oral Hershiser? I got to look this up. The Oral Hershiser used to have a commercial for some soap or Head and Shoulders, maybe? I don't know. And he would say something like, I shower 5 or 6 times a day. And it's like, what?
Cool. I shower 4 or 5 times a day. It's never made me cry.
But that's like a good target, a good number to know if you've had a good training day. Just look at the number of showers that you've taken. You want at least a 2-shower day. You don't want to let it get, if a 1-shower day, you have a 0-shower day, you got other problems. But if my daughter does the 0-shower day because she's at that age, and she's just like, did you shower today? No. Come on. Anyway, but you want those 2-shower days. If you're training hard, if you get a bunch of 2-shower days in a row, the 1-shower day is like, it depends. You could obviously ride in the morning or run in the morning, come home, shower, go to work. That's like a 1-shower day. You could also just roll out of bed and not do anything, shower and go to work. Or you could work out and then just go right to bed without showering, which that's another problem that you might have. A little hygiene problem. As if I've never done that before. Forget it. Let's move on. But yeah, 2-shower days. You need those 2-shower days. It's a little proof in the pudding that you're actually working hard. For us, after Wednesday night, Thursday morning, we did get up. I think, who got up at 5 a.m.? It was Seiden, Joe Caniano. I think Ron didn't make it this Thursday. Usually he's there on Thursdays, and Mike Romans. And then we had our 6 o'clock ride, and we had Kyle Lundquist and Marcy Christine show up. Good rides. So we didn't do a workout because we had raced the night before. We're trying to be smart about this. Effort levels. You don't want to effort level. You don't want your effort level to be maxed out. So we did a maximum effort at our race. So if you're going to come in the next morning, so you're going to finish a race at like 8:30, 8:45, and then wake up at 5 o'clock the next morning and then do another workout. Depending on where you are in the training cycle and what you're trying to accomplish, maybe that could happen. Maybe that could work. But for us, I think right now, the key is more get the time on the bike and get those, yes, you can do those workouts, those big, heavy workouts. They're certainly helpful. But you got to be careful when you start doing back-to-back all the time. You don't want to race yourself every single time. That can lead to overtraining. It can lead to injury. I've certainly, in the past, it was actually when I was going to work, I would go and run every single day in the afternoon. I would run and I would all I had was a 45-minute window. So I would try to get the maximum amount of miles in at the time. And in order to do that, I would just sit on the treadmill. Well, I wouldn't sit on it. I'd run on it. And I would just start hitting the speed up, keep hitting the speed up. And I would try to compare my run today versus my run yesterday. That was not a bright idea. Because you're constantly trying to beat the time from the day before. And when you're doing that, you're just racing yourself every single day. I wound up with a stress fracture. I wound up with some heel issues, some plantar fasciitis. All that stuff probably didn't have to happen. It probably didn't have to happen. It just was silly training. Poor training. And now I do less runs during the week. I do more cross training with the bike, less impact on the legs. I got to tell you, one of the things I like about the run pod on Zwift, something that I don't pay attention to when I'm just outdoors running, is it has cadence. And cadence, most of you guys probably don't have any problem with your run cadence, right? Run cadence, it's similar to bike cadence in that the optimal run cadence is, this is what they say, this is what the studies say, so bike cadence would be like 80 to 90 RPM. So run cadence would be just double that, because bike cadence is a full revolution, and run cadence is two steps. So it's double that. So your run cadence, if it's like 160 to 180 is optimal, really kind of on the higher end of that is considered optimal. For me, when I started running with the run pod, the cadence is right in my face, and I never really looked at it, and I never really studied it. And it turns out that I'm on the lower end of the spectrum. And typically what that means is you could potentially be overstriding. So you're trying to cover the same distance over less steps, over less strides, right? So you're extending your leg out too far. It's just a sign. It's a symptom. It's not a definitive thing. So if you guys are listening to me and you're saying, "Oh, well, my cadence is 160," that means I'm screwed up. No, it doesn't mean that. My cadence is still around 160, but when I see it in front of my face, when I'm on Zwift and I see that statistic hitting me, looking me in the eye, and I'm on that treadmill, it gets me to kind of up that cadence a little bit. And I get up to like that 170, and I try to stick it, and I try to stick with it and keep hitting that mark. Just as more of a goal to work on that proper cadence, proper run form. It's a good thing to do. And it's just another thing, I know I keep plugging away on the Zwift running thing, but it's a pretty good deal. It's kind of like that Ivan Drago training. I used to say it was, that Ivan Drago versus Rocky when they fought. And Rocky's out training in the woods and in the snow and in the barnyard, and Drago's like in the high tech indoor laboratory, right? So that's kind of the way I'd rather train like Rocky, but apparently I train like Drago. I'm indoors, trying to look at the statistics as I run and as I mess around with it. But it's all part of that, trying to run more efficiently, trying to run properly and fit the running into my workout schedule, my training schedule, without the risk, with less risk of injury, with less risk of the pounding and getting hurt. And it's working. It's working so far. The last 3 or 4 months, it's really been working. And we got our Friday 5 tonight, by the way. Anyway, where was I? So yeah, let's go. Thursday morning, we had our morning rides. So we didn't do a workout because we didn't want to overtrain. We're trying to be conscious about that overtraining. I don't want to, and you can overtrain on the bike too. If you're out there racing every single day, you got to take a break every once in a while. So, we did our workout on Tuesday, we did our race on Wednesday, and then we just took a nice easy ride Thursday morning, which was smart. Nice easy ride Thursday morning. I did 55 minutes in the morning ride, and then another half an hour on the 6 a.m. ride before calling it quits. And then we did our Thursday night ride last night. Thursday night trivia ride was great. We did 50 minutes. We had a whole bunch of new people. I love seeing new faces. And I love when you guys participate. It's really cool. I think, one of the things I like about this group is it's so welcoming that new people come in and they just feel like they join the conversation. And you do, and you just kind of mix in, and we get the best people. It's amazing. But it was a lot of fun. And we were missing like Jenna Austin wasn't there. Who else wasn't there? Mike Romans wasn't there. So some of the people that answer some of the questions and get involved a lot, often, they weren't there. And sometimes I get a little nervous that I'm going to start putting out trivia questions and no one's going to answer them. But not last night. We had Randy Latza come back last night. It's good to see him. And Charlie Duffy, man, you've been a stalwart lately. Every single time he's there. Greg, I can't remember your last name. It starts with an R. Is Rajkovic or Rakovic? He's kind of new. Not new. He's been there about 3 months. But he participates a lot as well. And it's great. I think the group has really kind of blossomed. And I tell you, the invite list is up to about 86 people, which means there's only kind of 14, 15 random names that I'm throwing in there every week and seeing who shows up from those random names. And it's funny to watch because we put out those random invites and people come in and they and they become a part of the community. And next thing you know, they're just, and this is kind of how the group has grown. And over time, it's like, I think of people like Ross Peters and Arthur Wolfram, like you guys are like old friends at this point. And that's how you guys started too. We just sent you a random invite, and next thing you know, you're there, and we're riding together, and we're having fun. Now you guys are still been there like 6 months, 7 months. And it's like, now it's like you're part of the family. So it's been a really good thing. I approaching that, that 100 invite list. And look, not everyone comes every week. That's the thing. But that's a good thing. You want that revolving door. You want that option to, does it fit your schedule? Yes, great. Come join us. Does it not fit your schedule this week? Well, that's fine. You can miss one. You can miss a couple. You're still going to get the invite. You don't have to worry about losing your invite. But eventually we're going to hit 100 people. We're going to hit 100 people, and either Zwift is going to have to let me expand the group, or we're going to have to do, maybe we'll do two trivia rides, and I'll use the same questions. Then we'll get cheaters. We'll get cheaters that watch the live stream and then answer all the questions the next time. I know how you guys think. But we'll have to come up with something. I know Zwift actually expanded the meetup invite list. It used to be 50. They expanded it out to 100. So maybe we're due for another expansion. I'm gonna have to start sending some feelers out to Zwift. They don't listen to me. They don't really care about me. They don't care about. They should give me an event ride. Just give me an event ride. I mean, geez, I've been doing this forever. I think we deserve it. Anyway, let's look ahead to the weekend and the rest of this week. So today is Friday. Friday night, we have our Friday 5, our 5K. I will be running it tonight, probably at about 8 o'clock. I think we have a couple people signed up. If you want an invite, let me know, and I'll gladly we'll add you to the list. You got to follow Ron Boo's run. This is the Run with Ron series. The Friday night, the Friday 5. I'll be going after it tonight. I kind of just want to relax during the day, be ready for the race tonight, and race. Let's call it a run, because it's not a race unless you want it to be. And maybe we'll go after it tonight and see if we can PR that tonight. I'm excited about that one. Saturday, tomorrow, we will be riding. We don't have any plans necessarily. I need to get about 2.5 hours in. 2.5 hours is my bogey. That's what I'm looking for. And then Sunday, I've been looking at this, thinking about it. I felt so good after last Sunday's 10-mile run, that I think I am going to push it to 11 miles. We're going to push it to 11 miles. I think is there an 11-mile course out there? I think there is, or maybe there's a 9-mile course or something like that. Try to get a new badge from the run course. I'll be doing that. And Sundays, you got to make a plan. You got to make a plan. So I have to talk to Stephanie. Unfortunately, she's not here until later today. So, and then I got to kind of sit down and figure out my weekend ahead of time, so that, again, there's been days where you wake up and you're like, oh, I got all day to get this long run in. But the long run now takes over 2 hours. So it's going to take me, at least 2 hours, probably a little bit more, to get my 11 miles in. So when it becomes, hey, we got to go to Costco, and that takes an hour. And, oh, we got to go do something else. Or, hey, can you help me with this? Or, hey, we got to cook dinner. Or we're going to go somewhere for lunch, or whatever we're going to do. Can take the dog out, do whatever. Those little tasks, to carve out at least 2 hours in the middle of the day is not always an easy situation. This is the thing we deal with as runners. Now, obviously, if you depending on your commitment levels, be it family, your spouse, whatever it may be, your friends, your work, your job, whatever that may be, you may be in different situations. You may have all day. If you do, God bless you. But if you don't, make sure you kind of make those plans and make those adjustments, and keep everyone in mind. The world is not here for you. It's not here for you. You got to be considerate. Just be considerate. That's all I'm saying. Just be considerate. We don't need any divorces going on account of training, okay? On account of the Ordinary Marathoner podcast. If anything, I tell you, we have a lot of running couples out there that run together. I always think of the Beesons. The Beesons go out there doing ultra marathons together. I think that's awesome. Good stuff, though. Good stuff. Anyway, all right, we're gonna call it quits today. I hope you guys have a great weekend. We got a big show coming out for you on Monday, March 1. Big announcements from the Ordinary Marathoner in our community. Lots of things going on. We've been busy for really almost a year now on this project, and we're finally launching it on Monday. Can't wait to announce it. Can't wait to tell you guys all about it. Looking forward to that. And until then, of course, if you want to be acknowledged, if you want to become a patron of the show, go to patreon.com/Ordinary Marathoner. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. We always could use the subscribers. It really, really helps out the channel. And if you want to add yourself to that scroll at the end, that's going to be here in about 5 seconds. Make sure you get over to the Patreon page, become a patron. It's not too expensive. It really, really helps us out. And I want to thank all you guys, in particular, for becoming patrons of the show. I can't tell you how much that means to us. It really, really helps kind of solidify getting this show out for you guys. So I do appreciate it, and thank you from the bottom of my heart. And remember, every day is an ordinary day unless you make it extraordinary. So get after it, guys.